Welcome to another episode on the channel. In today's video, we have another basic white Chrysler product, or Stellantis or FCA or whatever they feel like calling themselves today. So let's take a look at this and see what it needs to get back on the road. So for better or worse, I like Chrysler products. This is now my 9th Ram truck. 1 3/4 ton, and then the rest of them have been DS series trucks and 2 DT series trucks. And I was looking for a basic work truck. The DT 2020 that I have, it's a pretty nice truck. It's not a Laramie or anything, but it's a nicely optioned bighorn. And I don't like beating it up, getting mulch or whatever. So I was just looking for something cheap. And this popped up at the Raleigh, North Carolina auction a couple weeks ago. I was actually bidding on a 3/4 ton that was a Title Max repossession, but this was in the same auction. And at the beginning of the day, I saw it and I thought, hey, that looks pretty good. Looks like a pretty easy fix. So we'll throw a little bit at it and see what we get. So what we have is a 2018 fleet spec Ram 1500. It's hit in the back corner. And I am 99% sure that there is no frame damage. The frame stops here and the damage is over here. So there shouldn't be any worries with frame damage. Just needs a bed and a bumper and a tailgate and a taillight to take care of the accident damage. It only has 47,000 miles on it. And for being a fleet truck, it's pretty clean. It is dirty, but considering it's a fleet truck, it's clean from that respect. The interior isn't bad. It's not tore up. It needs a scrub down, but that's normal for anything that I buy. And it has the window sticker in it. So like I said, it's a fleet spec. It's got the chrome appearance package, power remote entry groups. You get cloth seats, nice door panels, keyless entry. Popular equipment group gives us carpet floors. It's got the 8-speed. It's got the Hemi, rear sliding window, and it has the upgraded base radio with satellite radio. Now, being a fleet spec, for whatever reason, they always delete the receiver hitch, and they deleted the spray and bed liner here. So to make it a useful truck for me, I'll add a factory trailer brake controller, which I've done on probably half the trucks I've owned. It's an easy job. And then I do need to add the receiver hitch. So either buy a whole trailer hitch that includes that, or just buy the bolt-on assembly that goes there. So if we look in the back, we've got some parts. The bumper almost looks like it could be reused. This bracket's bent, but it's bent a little bit here, but that could be straightened if you really wanted to dirtbag it. But a replacement aftermarket bumper is $200, so we'll just go that route. The tailgate is probably replaced, or they have replaced on it. It probably would be repairable. It just kind of got the edge here, but I can see a crack and filler there, and the same on the other side. So this thing has been hodgepodged back together, so we'll just get a replacement tailgate too. And this taillight on the non-accident side was damaged, so I'll need 2 taillights anyway. Those are cheap, $40 a pair, new on eBay or Amazon. But it's really not a bad truck for what I need it for and what I'm going to use it for. It's a pretty good truck. Like I said, we can see on this side, 47,600 miles. Dirty but not destroyed. It's easy to clean up. The bed's going to be replaced. We don't care what happens there, but got a little bit of lettering to take off. Not a big deal. And then buff it out. I just need to buff out the cab forward. It's bright white, so that'll be easy to clean up. And damage-wise on the cab, there's a small ding here. I'll just get the color transfer off of it and then not worry about the little dent. Man, not bad. Tires have some life in them, but I'll have to decide if I want to put 20s on it, the factory 20s, or just put some good like LT tires on the 17-inch wheels, since how we're going to be using it for towing and hauling. So the first thing I need to do before pulling the bed off of it, the beds on these, it's super easy to take off. It's a couple plugs, move a few wire harnesses, and then 6 bolts, and it comes right off. But this corner is pushed in and it's pinched this wire harness. So I need to do a little bit of hillbilly handyman here. I'm going to hook a chain into this corner and then tie it to a tree. And we're just going to give it a couple tugs to see if we can get this corner back enough that it lets the wire harness come out. All right, I think we've got a robust tree out here. Got it hooked into this corner. So we'll just give it a few tugs, see if we can get it, see if we can get that corner back a little bit so I can get the harness out of it. No. Yeah, it didn't take much effort to get that way back. And out comes our wire harness. All right, I got it in the garage, I got it lined up. So we're just gonna use the lift to lift the bed off of it. This was much easier than the last time I did one of these. If you go back farther in my videos, I bought a 3/4 ton Ram, probably 5 years ago now, and I ended up having to put a frame under it. So without a lift at my last house, I had to pull the cab and the bed off of the truck and ended up doing that out in the yard with a tractor and an engine hoist. It was a little ghetto the way we did it, but it worked. But this will be much easier. So I've already gone ahead. As you can see, taillights are out of it. The wire harness is all down where it's supposed to be. The only other thing you need to do from the top side is 3 screws to disconnect the fuel filler. And then it's 6 bolts from the underneath. There's 2 kind of back here, and then 4 ahead of the wheel wells. And luckily the bed liner's good. I'll transfer that to a new bed. And, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have been able to use that tailgate. It's definitely been a bit. But I can reuse the tailgate liner. So I guess before I do this, I'm gonna run over to Charlotte and pick up a new bed for it. There's a guy over there that has a whole bunch of new takeoff beds from 2024 3/4 ton trucks. And those are still the old generation beds. So let's go grab that and then we'll get the bed off of it. And here we have the replacement bed for the truck. Quick trip to Charlotte, about an hour and a half, $300, brand new bed. Now, I do have to make a couple small modifications to it for it to work on the DS series half-ton trucks. One of them is this attachment point for the tailgate needs to be swapped. I've got the part for it. The guy that sold me the bed showed me how to do it. It's not that hard. Otherwise, it should be plug and play. And for $300, if I got to do modification here or there, that's not a big deal. So now, hopefully, it won't be too difficult getting it off of the trailer. My tractor has forks, but they're not that long, so I may have to strap it to the fork so it doesn't tip and fall off, but we'll deal with that here in a minute. All right, so this is a very easy job if you're not an idiot. So I recalled there being 6 bolts, but there's actually 8. So I had a bit of trouble until I realized that I forgot the 2 bolts that are in the very back. So there's two back here that go through the trailer hitch. I forgot about those 2. But you can see the other 2 in the back are along this cross member. And then you've got that cross member, and then the one in front of it. And we can go take a look at the truck real quick. So this was a North Carolina truck. Not a spot of rust anywhere on it. Very clean truck. But yeah, it's really handy and easy to swap a bed on these. All of the wire harness, except for this little bit in the back that goes up to the lights, is all attached to the frame. This just kind of pushes down out of the way. You do that gently and then you don't break any of the plastic here. And I guess we just have to do it in reverse order. So I'll have to get the tractor with the pallet forks. And with that, I can get this bed out of there, throw it on the trailer to scrap, And then I'll have to put this one on the forks and then set it up here and try not to damage it, because I see we've done a little bit of damage down here. But the bending that was from trying to lift the bed without having it unbolted. So I'll have to be careful with that. It only took a couple hours to swap this over. It's all bolted down. The only thing I have to reconnect is the fuel filler and run the wires for the lights back up into the cavity. But I don't know why this thing was totaled. Like a brand new bed for $300 and a couple hours of labor. They quoted replacing a bedside, which is ridiculous. Like $1,000 in parts, and then you've got all the labor of replacing it. Stupid. So I thought, well, okay, maybe it has some frame damage, and that's why it was totaled. But the bed sat on there, everything lined up perfectly, the body lines are all perfect. I've got it squared across the bed to the cab, and just as a sanity check, I did a cross measurement of the suspension over to the cross member on the opposite side, and it's, well, as close as you can be with a tape measure, it's spot on. So there's no frame damage to this truck. I don't know, I guess they just figured it's a fleet truck, get rid of it, we'll get a new one. But back together, so we'll go ahead and throw the bed liner in. I do need to, it'll take a little longer than just throwing it in, which it's a nice thing. The heavy duty trucks have these tie downs, so all I need to do, I've already marked, and then I've measured a reference point from the hooks up, so I just need to drill some holes in the bed liner once I have it in there, and then I can mount those back in. Then, I'm not going to put the bumper on it yet. We'll take a look at our China parts over there in a second. But I won't put the bumper on yet because I'm gonna either swap out this whole thing for a trailer hitch with a receiver, or just buy the Chrysler receiver that goes on it. I've got the bed liner sitting in it, and of course nothing is ever simple. So I wanted to mount these hooks, but of course it lines up right on top of this ridge. And plus the bed liner is probably, a good inch away from the body. So I'm gonna have to just grab the Dremel with a little cutoff wheel and just cut a square out of it, or a rectangle out of it, so that this will recess into it so I can still use it. These are in a really handy location, so I would like them to be in there. All right, I got the bed liner finished up. I've got 4 holes cut in it for these hooks. Much like me, it doesn't look pretty, but it's functional, gets the job done. Then I also cut in 2 spots above the wheel wells. That's a handy attachment point down inside the bed. So this is good to go. Again, the bed is all bolted down. I've got the fuel filler screwed back in. So now, a little bit ago I had mentioned that this bed needs a little modification to work with these half-ton trucks. So the 3/4 ton new version trucks have a different attachment point over here for the tailgate, because they've got this mounting point for a damper. But the half-ton trucks, this old style half-ton truck, needs this attachment point for the tailgate. So we do have to do a little modification. I've got to come in here with the Dremel and Dremel off the weld, and then come into this side and cut off this part that has the attachment for the damper, and then take this and cut it off probably just past where the radius is, and then find a bolt that'll go down through here. I'll have to shave the head of it so it'll go down in here, and then it'll come through this shaft. Once you cut off this piece, that comes off, and then the center piece will pull out, leaving a hollow shaft. So then the bolt can just go down through this, through that, and then you can put a nut on the back side of it and tighten it down so that this won't turn. And then we can just spray a little paint on it and you won't notice it. our rework here works well. I've got this snugged down. Tailgate fits. The tailgate with the inserts, you can kind of move it left and right a little bit, but our gaps are fine on the sides. It could go right or it could go to the left a little bit. There's some play in it to do that. But our mechanism works as it should. The cup on the tailgate fits in there, and with this snugged down, it doesn't move. When I take it apart to paint it, when I put it back together, I'll put some Loctite on it so that it can't back off. Now that I know our used tailgate fits and lines up as well as it can, I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart and sand everything, spray a little paint on it, and then this will be good to go. Paintwork is done, 3 light coats, and I think it turned out pretty good. Color match is close enough. It's a hair off, but where it is, you're not gonna notice it. And once this, I'll let it dry overnight, and then I'll come in with the paint pen and just touch up a little bit around these edges. And same in here, I chipped a couple spots, so we'll take care of that tomorrow, and then this will be done. I'll be able to reassemble it, and then the tailgate can go on after I fix it. So let's go take a look at that thing. In between coats of paint, I stripped down and decontented the tailgate, and boy, is this thing a mess. So somebody did a real nice job painting it. So you can see, for one thing, the horrible orange peel that's in it, and 2, they painted around the emblems. So you know that's gonna be a high quality job. I'm actually surprised there isn't a CarMax sticker over in the corner with this kind of quality. And I did take a magnet to it. Let me grab that real quick. Now I figured it was originally white and it's been repainted, so it must have had some bodywork somewhere. So I grabbed a magnet and went around it, and our magnet sticks well. Not worried about scratching it. Our magnet sticks well all across here and up through here. The top of it's a typical spot for a big dent. This is all right. Until you get here. It doesn't. Yeah. Pretty much this area here is a bit suspect. And if you look at it under the light, you can see some filler dimples up through here. So and some sand scratches. So now that I know I've got filler in this area, I'm gonna grab the electric grinder with the flap disc and just take the paint off of everything. Just take this whole side down to bare metal, and we'll start over. We'll see what's going on here and refill it and just start blocking it out. This ding at the top, I can get to it from the back side, so I'll try to pop it out as much as I can, and then from poor handling at the wrecking yard, they bent this corner, but that's just on the lip, so I can get behind it with the dolly and tap it back out. And I am not a body man, so my dad is the body man. I will just put this together as best I can, since how he's 600 miles away. But I mean, again, it's a beater truck. It'll look decent, but it may have some imperfections. I finally had some very good luck. So looking through Facebook Marketplace last night, the guy that I bought the bed off of just got in a shipment of Ram Classic tailgates and rear bumpers. So I got a hold of him and ran over and got a new takeoff white tailgate, includes everything, emblems, the latches and everything, $550. So my beat to shit used one that I was gonna have to do body work and repaint is gonna be returned. I've got to eat a I've got to eat a 20% restocking fee, but still eating $130 on that, I'm still coming out way ahead with just buying this new takeoff and returning this one. The really shitty aftermarket one is gonna be returned. The aftermarket bumper that doesn't fit is gonna be returned. And for $300, I have a new takeoff bumper that should bolt right on. And also the trailer hitch is here. So we've got our factory class 4 trailer hitch. It's all the welded version, not the one that's bolted on. So 8 bolts, 4 on each side, and that should go right in. So I've also got our attachment point on and Loctited in. So it should go together in pretty much like 45 minutes. I should have all of this stuff put back on. If we take a look at our piece here, the square part is eccentric, so it's offset a little bit in one direction. I have the offset to the top, and with it oriented in that way, I took the used tailgate and set it on here, and everything lines up perfectly across here. I don't know if it will line up in any orientation, but I have it in that orientation and it works, so I'm not going to piss around with it. It works in that direction, so we'll leave it there. Now, like I said, I do have this tightened and Loctited down, but in the future, if it loosens up, we can either just tighten it back up, or worst case, come in here and tack weld a little bit on the top and bottom like the other one was. All right, I lied a little bit. So instead of being 45 minutes or so, it was maybe 20 minutes to get it all back together. But from an accident standpoint, the truck is done. So it is back in the same condition it was before the accident. And we'll take a look in a second at cost, where I'm at to get it into this condition. But everything, for the most part, everything seems to work fine. The tailgate, the only issue with the tailgate, I've got even gaps here and here, the body line's correct. And this gap is fine and it matches the other side. And over here our body line matches, but it's really close up here for some reason. And the tailgate drags a little bit. So I'm not sure what the deal is there, because I can't adjust anything on the tailgate. I can't slide it over or anything. It just kind of is where it is. So maybe with time it'll wear a little bit and then kind of fix itself. I'm not too worried about it. The bumpers, being new, it's a little hard to close, but the bumpers should wear in as well. So you just got to slam it a little bit. And then this side is a little harder to latch. So you just got to slam it, and that side latches. But we got our aftermarket taillights in it. That's the only thing aftermarket that I purchased that actually fit. So 40 bucks on eBay, I got a pair of taillights. The new takeoff bumper fits like it should, and our used trailer hitch obviously fits like it should. And if we look in here, everything is where it should be with our replaced attachment point. So anybody just taking a cursory look in here will never notice that that's been replaced. So the only other thing I have to do, I need to replace the handle. This one is missing the camera, so I can just grab it off of the other tailgate, and I'll strip down that tailgate and have a little bag of extra stuff, like the extra cables for the tailgate and emblems, stuff like that. So in case I break one, I'll have spares. All right, so if we look at our spreadsheet to see where we are, so the purchase price, 4,800 bucks, tax, title, plates, and everything, about 250. Fees, so the auction fees, the broker fees, the fees of fees of fees of fees. With all of that, that's $1,260. Transportation, 400 bucks. The bed was 360. The tailgate, 550. The bumper, 340, with some fuel cost in there. So the used trailer hitch, 133, and the restocking fee for the used tailgate, I'm going to have to eat like 140 bucks there. So all in, to get it back in the condition it was before the accident, I'm at $8,300. So I don't think that's too bad of a price for a Hemi half-ton truck with 47,000 miles on it. Being a 2018, it's not that old. So 8,300, not bad. So in the next video, I will go ahead and detail it, do all the maintenance and any mechanical repairs that it needs. And then we'll update the price to see where I am all in to get it completely sorted and pretty much 100% truck. So thanks for watching this video, and make sure you like and subscribe to keep up with other projects around the garage.